The biggest names in the music industry are being exposed, revealing shocking truths about the lengths parents will go to for money and fame. This is the story of how Usher's mother allegedly gave up her son, setting off a cycle of abuse that continues to affect minors in Hollywood. What really happened to Usher at Diddy's flavor camp, and what was Diddy doing to minors during that time?
Result of being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, and I'm telling him, look, you're going to put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there. You got Craig Mack in there. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? We would fight. We would tussle.
Usher first entered the music industry as a young kid, managed by his mom. Soon after, he was signed by LaFace Records, the same label that would later sign Justin Bieber. However, shortly after getting signed, Usher lost his voice, which led him and his mother to cross paths with Diddy. Diddy offered to take Usher in, promising to help him in exchange for letting him live with him. By this time, people were already aware of Diddy's controversial reputation, and it seemed incredibly risky to let a 13-year-old boy live with a stranger. Yet, Usher's mother seemed more focused on making money from her son than his well-being. She agreed to send Usher to live with Diddy completely unsupervised.
I don't care what they say, because they tried to push me out. They didn't want me in. They would actually say, you're too close to the project. No, I'm not. Because remember, Usher went to stay with Puffy. Now, that was a business decision right there, because I didn't know Puffy. I didn't know him.
How old was he?
Usher was 15. He lost his voice.
Physically or just?
Puberty. He's growing and he lost his voice. So he lost his range. So the record company felt like, okay, this is not a great investment. So Puffy was there and I will never forget it. We had this conversation and he said, you're going to have to trust me. That was really, really a hard decision.
Rather than do what was best for her son, Usher's mom made a business decision to send her 13-year-old son to go live with who was probably the worster in the music industry. In her own words, she didn't know Diddy, she didn't know what he wanted to do with Usher, but still she sent him away. Allegedly, this is when Diddy taught Usher how to have sex. Yes, you heard that right. Diddy taught 13-year-old Usher how to have sex. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Usher said living at Flavor Camp with Diddy taught him everything he knows about sex. There were always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having an orgy. You never knew what was going to happen.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Usher lived with Diddy, and when his album later debuted, Diddy used his connections to help him go viral. Allegedly, in exchange, Usher had to stay under Diddy's control and follow his orders. During this time, rumors started circulating about Diddy allegedly abusing Usher. These rumors have been around for over 20 years, supported by sources close to Diddy, including his bodyguards and interviews with Usher himself, all pointing to suspicious behavior toward the 13-year-old. Unfortunately, Usher wasn't the first or last child star that Diddy would allegedly abuse.
I know, and people know, that was around in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now, I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember, Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp.
There are reports that an incident with Diddy sent Usher to the hospital. Some people in the industry have spoken out, saying they heard about a kid living with Diddy who was hospitalized after an alleged assault involving the producer. The details are unclear, but the rumors have raised concerns about Diddy's treatment of young artists.
If you don't mind me asking, because I know the topic is sensitive, what happened to Usher?
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that. And they may be doing something, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking and we was around some people, something like that. And then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when people say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas. Man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened.
At this point, Usher was reportedly under Diddy's control. A leaked video from one of Diddy's parties shows him hugging Usher and telling Kevin Hart he would sleep with Usher later. Diddy also mentioned waking up with Usher while he was at Flavor Camp. This raises serious questions about why Diddy was involved with a 13-year-old Usher in such a way.
We want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No. I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even. I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. Usher look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. Usher
Fresh off the garden stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like that's how. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's
In 2012, Usher was involved in a legal case where he allegedly gave herpes to a gay man and 2 women. He paid over $1 million in settlement fees. Some believe this may be connected to the abuse he experienced while under Diddy's control, but the details are unclear.
Well, some documents have leaked about Usher. They were obtained by Radar Online. And apparently back in 2009 or 2010, he had contracted herpes and passed it on to a celebrity stylist having unprotected sex with her. He had to pay $1.1 million to that woman for severe emotional distress. And he also covered her medical bills. That case was settled back in 2012. Now, allegedly, there was a greenish discharge from his penis.
Whoa, that's a booger. You can get penis boogers? I didn't know that.
He said he went to the doctor. He was cleared of any STDs. So the woman went on and continued. Now, if I notice a greenish discharge oozing out of your penis,
This ain't Nickelodeon.
I don't know that I would
ain't
continue.
slime.
What you gonna say?
I know all these kids playing with slime nowadays, but no.
I don't care who you are, okay?
Nothing green supposed to be coming out your penis.
Nah, not at all.
That's not how this works.
Nope.
Yellow comes out my penis and white.
Usher has never publicly addressed being gay, and his sexuality is his personal choice. However, it is curious that he seems to be associated with men who either abuse others or have been abused themselves. One of these men, Orlando Brown, has claimed that he had sex with both Diddy and Usher.
We made love.
Who you made love with?
Diddy, Bow Wow, Busta Rhymes.
You just told me you seen Busta in the airport too. That motherfucker tried to act like he didn't know you. You smashed Drake?
No, I never smashed.
Oh, you made love to Drake.
And Cat Williams. What's his name?
Bro, you smashing a lot of people.
What's that name? Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. Usher. Usher's a gusher.
Shockingly, Usher himself now seems to be part of the same child mafia he was once a victim of. In 2008, when Justin Bieber was signed to LaFace Records with Usher managing him, Justin was around 13 years old, the same age Usher was when he was signed. Instead of protecting Justin and keeping him safe, Usher allegedly handed him over to Diddy for 48 hours, with no parental supervision or oversight. During that time, Diddy was allowed to do whatever he wanted with Justin, and Justin was reportedly told not to tell anyone what happened.
Anyways, I want to also just show you this montage. This is a montage that was shared by Evie Magazine. They do great work on their TikTok of Justin Bieber, again, just 15 years old, in Hollywood, surrounded by a bunch of adults. And you let me know if any of this registers to you as normal. Take a listen.
Wow. I feel violated right now. Wow.
Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. Like that was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. Look at that, what a beautiful face. All right.
Diddy had reportedly groomed Usher to the point where Usher was now helping him create new victims. Justin's parents, much like Usher's mom, seemingly didn't prioritize Justin's safety or well-being. As a result, the cycle of abuse that began with Usher continued with Justin Bieber, with Usher playing a role in allowing Diddy to take advantage of the young star.
Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute, and his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there.